Hello everyone. Let's understand how do we work on MySQL using a command line, right? There are different ways, like in Python also we can work on MySQL. Similarly, we can also work using a command line or command prompt, what you can say, right? So how to launch this command prompt? Let's understand. Go to the MySQL part where your folder is located. So, okay, over here, right? So MySQL, so click on command line, right? So it will prompt you to enter the password. Enter the password which you have set earlier and enter, right? So this is the window you will see. Now let's understand how to work on these commands and the syntaxes, things like that. All right. The first one is, if you want to know the number of databases, what are all the databases exist in the MySQL, what you can write is show databases, right? Show databases and semicolon. Do not forget that semicolon, right? As you can see here, show databases. What it will do, this will show all the databases available in MySQL. So I'm going to enter. So these are all the databases exist in my SQL, right? So I have created 1, 2, 3, 4 databases. Remaining databases will come automatically, right? Except this one also I think I have created. So otherwise, some of the default databases will be there inside the MySQL. So this way you will see the number of databases in MySQL. And if you want to see the tables in the databases, right, what we can do. So if I just say that show table, right, show tables, what is going to happen? Let's execute this. It is going to give me an error. Why? Because there are many databases in many tables in different databases, right? I have some tables in database 1. I have few tables in database 2. Now I have to tell that in which table I want to see the, sorry, I'm going, in which database we want to see the tables, right? Tables, database, sometimes little, I will mess it up, but yeah, database and tables, you need to be very careful. So now I want to see the tables in the database, in particular database. In that case, how do I make sure that I select that particular database? So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say use database. And which database? Use database, let's say that 1, right? And semicolon, enter. So you can see that database changed. Now I can go ahead and say show tables. Show tables. It will show me the tables exist in the database. Marks, student, test table. These are all the database exist in my, these are all tables exist in my database number 1. All right. So this way I will be able to see how many tables in each database. You can use any other database, database 2, database 3, and check the tables, right? Let's see one more. I will say use database, say 4, right? Enter. Now database has been changed. Now I can say show tables. Enter. So it says that empty set. There are no tables exist in that particular database. Let me check one more. This time I'm going to check database 2. So in order to check the tables in the database 2, I have to use the database 2. Now you have to make sure that database changed here, right? Then only you can go ahead and say show tables. So there is only one table exist in this database too. All right, fine. Now we know the tables, and now we know how to open up the database. And once we use that database, then we know that how to check the number of tables. Now I want to check the table description, right? Table description. So what this guy will do, let's first write DESC, description of a table. So right now, which table I have? Student, right? Student. Whenever you say description, make sure that you are inside the database, right? In one of the database where you have your tables exist. Right now, my database 2 is open. In that I have a table student. Now I can say only student, student and semicolon. You can see that name, student ID, address. What are these? These are basically the columns inside the table called student, right? This is the table description, nothing else. Table description, how many fields are there and what type of a fields are, right? Name is a varchar, right? Varchar means it can take a alphanumeric and up to 255 characters. And student ID is integer, and address is varchar. This is also able to occupy 250 characters. All right. So these are the null. I will talk about this. What is null and all, right? Going forward. As of now, let's try to understand what is description. Right. This is what we did. DESC, and the student is my table name in the database too. All right. So fine. Now we have seen how to use the database, how to check the tables inside that database. We have also seen that how to check the table description. Now what we will do, we'll go ahead and create one new table, right? Whenever I want to create a table, first of all, I need to use one of the database. Right now, we are already using a database too. So I don't need to do that once again. All right. So how to create table inside the database? Now, what I'm going to do, give me a second. I don't want to mess up here. Okay. So the description you can see, this will create the table along with column names with data types. It means that I say that create, let me start writing, create, syntax is create table, right? Create a table and your table name, the name which you want to give. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a table called test underscore table. This is my table name. You can give any name, test underscore table. So after that, an open parenthesis. So I will say employee underscore ID. So this is basically a column name inside the table. We have seen columns, rows, tables in the earlier video. The same thing we are trying to create here, similar type of a tables. Employee ID, and I will say that integer 5. What is this? Integer 5. I am saying that employee ID should be always integer. I cannot enter some alphabets, right? When I say employee ID, I cannot say that ABCD are my name. So I'm setting it, this column should always take a integer. And what is the maximum data or maximum integer one can enter, maximum is 5. You can change it to any number, right? Don't go like 1,000, 2,000, things like that. There's some realistic number, maybe employee ID starting from 1 to maybe 10, 15 or 20, right? No employees, no college or no organization will give more than 20 or 15 employee ID, right? So I'm just giving a test table. Employee ID is one of the column. In that, I'm saying that that employee ID should be always integer and maximum integer should be 5, right? Then I say comma. The next column, I say name. Okay, name is one of the column I want to create inside that particular table. So name, so what kind of a data it is? I will say var char. Var means variable characters, variable characters. So it can vary, right? So I will say 10, right? I will say 10. So give me a second, it has to be var, okay, sorry, my bad. Var char 10, maximum 10 characters. So you can give 25, 30, 50. We may have more than 50 character also, right? Some of the, some people will have more than 50 characters, in their names, maybe starting name, middle name, last name, right? So safer side, you can give more than required also, that is fine. So it doesn't harm anything. Right now I'm keeping only 10. So later I will show you how to change that 10 to 15 or a 20 or any number, right? Right now I'm keeping 10. Then I will close this. Then I will say semicolon. Now I will enter. So what happened? Query OK. 0 rows affected, right? So there are no rows because I just created a table. Fine. So I created a table. Now what I'm going to do, I need to insert the data, right? Insert the rows. How will I be able to do that? Now, insert where? Into, insert into. So I need to give the table name. What is the table name? I'll say test underscore table, because this is what we have created. So I have to insert data in that particular table only. I will say insert into table name. Okay. So where and all you want to insert the data? First of all, we have only two columns, employee ID and name. So I will say that, okay, I need to insert data in the employee ID. Also, I want to insert data in the column name. Close it, right? Let me repeat. Insert into the table name, what you have, and in which column you want to insert data. I want to insert data in both the columns. You can choose only one column also, right? It's up to you. Fine, column names I have selected, but where is the data? Yes, I'm going to give the data. That should follow like values, open parenthesis. So employee ID is what kind of a data? It's an integer. So I will say 100. I'm just giving one number, 100, comma, and I want to give one name also, right? Name is a string. So I have to specify inside this uh, quotes, and I will close this, right? So let's see whether it is going to accept just like this. I will say Shankar, then semicolon, right? So let's execute. You see that unknown column Shankar in field list, correct? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change it. I will say insert into test underscore table, same thing, employee underscore ID is one column, name is another column, Now values, I'm going to say 100, comma, in the quotes, I will say Shankar and close the quote, then semicolon. Now I will execute. I'll just hit enter. Now you can say that query OK, one row affected. It means that one row I'm able to insert it, right? So fine, then will I be able to check whether we have successfully inserted or not? Yes, we can check it, right? That is the whole idea here. SQL is basically, that's how it fits. We have seen in the earlier video, right? Let's say I want to check what are the data inside the table. Now I'm going to say select star. Star means what? Star means everything inside the table. Everything inside the table. Later I can control it. Later I can control based on some condition and all. But whenever I say select star, it means that select all the data. Okay, select all the data from where? Now I will say from I'm going to give the table name. What is the table name? Test underscore table. I will say test underscore table. I will end it. Now enter. You can see that employee ID is the column name. Name is also column name, and this is the data we have entered. All right. So this way I will be able to select all the columns. Select star means all the columns. I can also select only particular column like employee ID, only name, anything. We will see that later in the upcoming videos. So this is basically the idea how we can select the columns from particular table. All right. Fine, one row we have inserted. What if there is a file and I want to insert all the data? Suppose say in organization, they gave a list, right, to the SQL developer. So we have collected all the information from the student or employee and their names, and we have assigned the numbers, employee IDs to all the employees. This is the Excel sheet or one of the CSV file format, right? So I have to do mass insertion, right? Just to take a file and insert it. Suppose say there are 1000 values, 1000 rows. I cannot keep doing a insert into 1000 times, right? It's tedious task. So what I will do, I will try to write some query. I'll just take the file and load into the table. How do I do that? Right? So let's look into this. Okay. So first and foremost thing is you need to select the file path, right? The path where your file exists. Sometimes you may get into a problem. Like you and I try to do that. So it shows that the MySQL server is running with this dash dash secure dash file dash priv option, so it cannot execute the statement, right? So in that case, what you do, you just type this show variable like this one, this entire thing, this thing. So it will, what it will give, it will give a path. It will give a path. So that path, in that path, you have to store your file. This is a test underscore table file which I have, right? That I have stored in the path, the same path which I'm going to get this. So if I say this one, let's open this. I'll just write this, and what it give? It gave me one path, right? gave me one path. In that folder, uploads folder, you have to store your file, right? So there is some constraint which will not allow you to load a file from different folder. So if you want to do that, there are so many lines, so many adjustment we have to do, right? Which is a tedious task. So simple thing is just check this and you will get a folder. In this path, go to this upload folder and store your file. And that link you can give here. So what I'm trying to do here, now let's say that I want to load a file from this particular folder. So this is the file I have. Let me open that file, test_table. You see this. So these are the data, say around 300, I guess we have more than 300. Yeah, 300. And we have a names also, right? Employee ID and names. I want to load this. So how I'm going to do that, right? So let's open this. First thing is load data, right? As the name suggests, load data. From where? In the quotes, I'm going to copy this entire thing. This will change according to your system and all. You have to make sure that, right? Then, okay, loading this file where? Into table, into the table. Okay, give me the table name. Okay, test_table. That was our table, right? Then fields terminated by comma. What is this? Because I am using a CSV file. CSV file is a comma separated files. Each fields will be separated by commas, right? So let me show you that. Okay, so it is not taking that. Give me a second. Okay, I have to remove this quotes. My bad. Okay, now it will open. Okay, this is a comma separated file. We don't see that. But what I'm going to do, I will open this folder once again. I'll open this folder where this file is located. This is the folder, right? So now what I'm going to do, I will open this notepad. You don't need to do this, okay? You don't need to do. I'm just trying to show you what is comma separated files. Otherwise, we are going to have a long discussion on this particular file. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just drag and drop here. You see this comma? First one is employee ID. After that, we have a comma. Then name. ID, comma, name. So this is a comma separated file, right? So that since we are going to use that file, I'm going to say fields terminated by comma, right? Then lines terminated by slash backward slash n. What is this backward slash? What it is going to do, let me open this. So whenever I load this file, right, the next line, right, so it will show something like this. So how the final file will show? Something like this, /n this, then again /n this data, then /n this data. This is how it is going to come when we import this. So in order to avoid this continuous, I want the data something like this only, right? I don't want the data something like this, correct? So that is the reason I am saying terminated by fields, terminated by comma, lines terminated by /n. to avoid any confusion here. So lines terminated by /n /n, then I will say, so where do I need to load now? Right? We have selected the file. We also mentioned load the data. We also given a table name. Everything is done, but I need to tell what are all the column names. Now I'm going to say employee underscore ID and name. Right? Now execute. I got an error. What is this? You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to your MySQL server version for the right syntax to use. Maybe I have opened this, I believe. Let me close this. Okay. Into table at, okay. Let me directly copy and paste. Anyway, I did not do any mistake, I believe. Let's check. Okay, so my bad. I did not had this in file, right? In file. That is what was missing. I think otherwise we have everything. Now let me enter. Give me a second. Enter. Okay, right? It was hung. So now you can see that query okay, 200 rows affected. Records 200 and deleted 0, skipped 0, warning 0. Right? 200 records is what it is saying. So how many records we had? Let's check one more time. Open this only, and how many records we opened? Okay, so if you check this, it should be showing. So you can see the count 200, right? Count 200 are the records that were affected, and that is what we are seeing over here, right? Records 200. Now, if you want to check whether we have loaded all the records or not successfully, so yes, we can go ahead and say select star, okay, from where? From test underscore table, right? In this table only we have loaded. Now execute this. You can see that total 201 rows, right? Because one row we already inserted before loading this file. You can see that employee ID and name and the 100 and Shankar is what we have added manually. And after that, we have all this data loaded from the file, right? So that's how you can load a CSV file, and from any folder. It's suggested that so you try to find the right folder using the syntax which I explained. Then you copy your file into that folder, then directly. So you don't need to remember all this. You don't need to remember. If you're worrying that, okay, it's too big, how do I remember? You don't need to worry. So you can Google and find it, right? So only thing is path is going to be different. Your table name is going to be different. Your column names are going to be different. Otherwise, if you are loading a CSV file, .csv file, the syntax is going to be same. All right, make sure that your table name, your file path, and column names only need to be changed. All right. Yes, that's all. How that is what we are try to discuss here. How to use all the syntax and the commands within the command prompt. Right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching this video. We will see much more commands and syntax in the upcoming videos. Until then, keep learning, and thanks for watching.